Hello, everyone. This is Shahab, and this is another session of Microsoft Zero to Hero. And we are happy to have you on another Saturday over the weekend. As you know, we have a new portal coming up, and you could go there, explore what kind of programs we are offering. Microsoft Next Gen Heroes, another group of our colleagues are working on that, or our friends, not colleagues. And you could also join us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, and also join us on Microsoft Learn. As you know, we are part of Microsoft Learn as well. You could go explore all the news around the Microsoft Learn, and also you could see the news that we have in here. And today we are going to talk about Azure AI services. That being said, Azure provides a lot of services around artificial intelligence and machine learning. And we have a guest here who is a Microsoft MVP and could guide us through all those various services and tell us where we could use them and where we should use them. And as always, be respectful to each other, be patient, and listen to each other's opinion. Maybe there's something to learn. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. Without further ado, I would like to invite Kim on the stage with us. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing great. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing great too. Thanks. Thanks for being us and accepting our invitations, being here.
Of course, really looking forward to it.
Great. Then I'm not gonna take a lot of time of this session. The stage is yours. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you. And also for you listening live now, if you have any questions, just shout out or reach out and I'll take them during the presentation. So just interrupt anytime and ask the question, so can we cover them right away. Yeah, so like you mentioned here, this session will be about navigating the Azure AI seas, which means we're gonna look at, what is it you can use in Azure when it comes to the AI area. I'll try to cover, you said every service, there's a lot of services, so we'll see. I'll cover as much as I get the time to do so. But if it is something specific you want to go into deeper a little bit more, just say so. So it's a really demo-heavy session, so just let me know. And the full list, how it looks is like this. So these are the services that are available. So everything from how you can manage and run agents. There is some model inference, search services, different kinds of bots, custom vision, document things, face, speech, everything. So all the cognitive services, and all of this is now pretty condensed. So the really good thing is just a couple of years ago, when you got started into this, you needed to deploy all of these services separately. But nowadays, it's actually combined into one portal pretty much. So one place to go, the one-stop shop. But we'll get back into that a little bit later. One of the services that is not covered that much in there, just as you said, there are the generative AI and just AI services in general, and then you have the machine learning. So the Azure machine learning part is still a little bit separate, but I'll cover that as well. But before we jump into all the demos and look through everything, a quick introduction about who I am. So my name is Kim Berg. I am the CTO for Data and AI for Society Sweden. And as you can see here, I love to dance. So I have dance practice 4 times a week and a lot of different outdoor activities. I like to hike, camp, fly fish, that sort of thing. I have a little bit over a decade in the tech industry. I started out pretty much hosting data centers. So I have an operations infrastructure background and started focusing on the cloud 9 years ago. In the last 6 or 5 years or so, I've been purely focusing on data, AI, and IoT. And I'm part of the Microsoft Responsible AI Innovation Center in Sweden, which helps out with responsible AI for companies. You can bring your idea to this Responsible AI Innovation Center and we can help out. So it's a Microsoft initiative. Also a public speaker. So I do both online and a lot of in-person conferences. And also I contribute to open source quite a lot. And as mentioned, because of that, I am a Microsoft MVP within both AI and IoT. I'm a dual category MVP. That was some quick things about who I am before we get started. So let's jump into it. And to start off, I want to show you this. So there are some fundamentals on how you develop AI, I would say. And it usually goes in this sort of way. I mean, these steps, I would say. So usually you start off by tinkering and looking around on what kind of model you need. After that, you try to do some customization, what is needed for it. You look at what kind of knowledge or tools you want to add on. And then you do some orchestration, build on the trust and observability. And you will see this way of working through my full presentation when I demo as well. So I try to cover it this way as well. So going from the start to finish, how we usually do in a project. So I will try to do it how I usually also start projects. So it will be quite hands-on, my way of starting AI projects pretty much in these different ways. And as mentioned, it's now all collected in one service, which is Azure AI Foundry. So in AI Foundry, you have access to all of these different AI services that I showed you there in the list, and AI search, of course, in these different things. The thing is, it's being more and more put into this service. So it really is becoming the one-stop shop for all your AI needs when it comes to Azure. And yeah, it will continue that way. So more and more of the services are being integrated into this. And I hope they will integrate Azure Machine Learning quite soon as well, that service. Because right now that is the only one that is a little bit outside, as I said. It's being used for some parts, but not fully integrated yet. And outside of that, of course, how you then can work with Foundry. Well, you can do it either from the portal itself. It has its own portal that you can start to work with. I will do the demos and how to get started from that view. So I will mostly do it from the actual portal to keep it simple. But you can do it and utilize it from Copilot Studio. You can do it in Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code, of course. You can do it from GitHub, or you can utilize the Foundry SDK as well. I won't cover those that much in this demo parts. And then, of course, when you want to deploy it, you can either do it in Azure, anything that is Azure Arc enabled, and you can also deploy it now in something called Foundry Local, which was released quite recently. So it's a way of running your AI workloads on the edge. And yeah, when it comes to constraints and things, that's a way of running it, which integrates it that. And of course, in the bottom here, you have a lot of different ways on how we can deploy it out with Kubernetes, different app services or functions and that sort of thing as well. Good. And yeah, the ecosystem in Azure AI Foundry then, there is a lot of things here. So it's a toolbox that you can use so many different things. It's designed so you can utilize the best models. And it's really every time I go into Foundry, there's new models. And there was a really big jump quite recently. All the presentations I saw before, and every time I mentioned it myself, it was yeah, it has 1,800 models or so. Yeah, there is a lot more now. I'll show you soon. The jump from there was massive, I can say. But other than that, yeah, there is some one or first person sort of offering. So, and then there's third-party offerings as well. So a lot of the Azure services you can utilize within it, how you can customize and build your different applications and things, but also third-party offerings. As, for example, their LangChain is a really popular one. And in the bottom, how you then manage these different things in production. Yeah, there is Azure Monitoring to monitor all your different workloads. Azure App Config, of course, to keep the app config in a more central place. Different kinds of cost management. Yeah, GitHub Actions to trigger and monitor and do things as well. And of course, what I think is one of the most important parts, how you safeguard your things and build trustworthy AI, which is a really fundamental thing when it comes to AI, of course. There is a lot of things built into the service, and some parts you can utilize from outside, like Azure Policies, for example, is a little bit outside. And the Azure AI Content Safety is within the Foundry service. Then you can utilize it in everything you do there and test things out and evaluate. And we'll come to that as well. And of course, backing up your solutions and that sort of thing. But yeah, I would say if no questions, without further ado, let's jump over to Foundry then. And here we are. We're coming into our Foundry projects. My one is now called Responsible AI Demo. So the first thing you see here is the overview, some like connections, endpoints, keys. You can connect different services and things here to get started. Some different details, what location you're in, the management center, that sort of thing. But other than that, here you will see the first time where I mention it. It comes to the same thing in that circle that you saw, how you work with it. It's just named by some different names here, but still it is define and explore how you can start that thing. So again, pick the right model, start experimenting in the playground with the model and pick it around, try it out, different things. The next step, build and customize. So want to build it with agents, use some kind of template that is available here. Do you want to fine-tune your model for your specific use case, for example? After that, we have the observe and optimize. So if you want to debug, you want to monitor your application, that sort of thing. And of course, the protect and govern. So you can evaluate the quality and safety of your solution, customize different kind of guardrails, set some risk and alerts and that sort of thing, and of course, establish some governance. Other than that, here is the big jump I told you about. Always before on the models here, you saw 1,800. Now it's over 11,000. So yeah, it's always increasing, but that last jump was massive. And in the model catalog here as well, you can see some leaderboards. So yeah, for example, what's having the best quality when it comes to things, or what is the most safe model to use within safety, the most cost optimized one, or the maximum amount of throughput. So you have different kind of leaderboards, so you can go in and browse here. But I wouldn't say going into the leaderboards is not the recommended way of figuring out which model you want to use. It's good to keep track of it, of course, what there is and what you can find there. But there is different ways that you can actually do it when you start to play around in the playgrounds and utilize the different models. So you can start off with something, and there is something that I always use that is called a model router. And it actually picks the best model for you specifically to use for your different use cases. So dependent on what kind of question or what you're asking, it will guide you to the correct model, which is really nice. Outside of that, of course, here is the connection to all the different AI services done. And again, as you saw there in the beginning, it follows that same sort of workflow within Foundry here as well. So in the top here, everything about the models and that sort of thing, the playgrounds, the different services you can use, build and customize, observe and optimize, protect and govern. So it follows the same way here as well, which is really nice. But if we jump in then to the AI services, here is where I usually start. If I don't know exactly what I will start using, what kind of service I will use, I usually start out here. There is a lot of really good examples to kick things off here. So if I want to do something, for example, what should we pick? Let's say I want to do something with speech, something speech connected. Perhaps I want to add like a speech functionality into an existing chat or whatever, that sort of thing. I can start going in here, and it gives me a lot of different ways on how I can start utilizing these services. The only thing I need to do, I need to connect my AI service that has the functionality of speech. So a cognitive service. I think they'll change this quite soon, so it's even easier to know how it actually integrates. But right now, you need to pick your connected resource, and then you can just start demoing and testing things out here, which is really nice. So let's take, for example, the real-time transcription. And yeah, it has English picked. Let's see, we can do it. Yeah, let's keep the defaults for now. But then we can just start here, like right off and record and test things out. So, hello, I'm doing a presentation on how to utilize the Microsoft AI services. So it's a way here I've started doing it. So as you see, it's transcribing right away when I'm speaking now. So it's like live transcribing. Yeah, really good. And even better, if I see them, this is something I want to use in my service. What I usually do then, because I'm more of a coder, so this is just like to give me ideas of what I can do, then I go in here. But when I want to actually build something with it, my first part is usually to go to here, to view code. So if you click the view code, it gives you ways of how you can start utilizing it. So you can get some quick starts, some sample code. You can view the documentation on how to start utilizing this service, which is really nice. And there is, here it says, gives an example, and also there's an Azure AI speech toolkit that you can use as well. Nice, good. Then then you can start actually building some kind of thing in your code that you want to integrate this into them. But some other examples then, if we go back to the AI services. Let's say that I want to do something about document translation, or let's see, let's pick the Vision plus document, for example, here as well. So there is a new service. It's still in preview that is called content understanding. So if we jump into that service here as well, same kind of layup, how you do it. It gives you some introduction on what the service is, some different use cases, so you can start triggering your ideas, what you want to do. But not only that, you can then go to try it out. And here in the try it out section, you also have some different demo cases to test out. So if we want to then, if we take these examples, I want to do a contract data extraction. It gives you an example document here that you can start running it with. And you can see I've been running the analysis on this now. So it takes out the things that is important for you here. So this is how it looks when it's actually done it. You can see the result out in JSON as well, how it looks there, and that sort of thing. So all of these different things, and it's a post-call analysis that found the sentiment and some speaker information, that sort of thing, and a general document analysis. And as you see here, I haven't run this. So if I run this analysis now, I can just drag and drop or browse for the different files if I want to try it with my own file. But if I do it here with the example, you can see it took it down. So it did just a general document analysis, and put it all out here as markdown in one part. So you have the full list of it here in markdown. And if you want to check it out just in text, you can have that as well, and browse the different text sections. And tables, because this one had tables. So it saw that this one was it fits to take it out as a table. So then you have a table for that as well. So there's a lot of really good examples here to start triggering your ideas on how you want to utilize it, which I really like. So I usually start out doing it this way and go in. But outside of all of these different AI services that covers, it is including all the different AI services that you can see in Azure. But outside of that, you also have a separate one called Playgrounds. And in the Playgrounds, it is more general, if you want to start building some sort of agent, you have that here. If you want to get started with a chat or a video thing or image playground, audio, speech, language, all of the different ones you have here. And some really good examples as well. This one is really specific within healthcare, that sort of playground as well. A lot of them is in preview, but still, it's a good starting point to trigger and build your ideas. And in the next step then, what do we have? You have all the different build and customize parts. So here's the part where you build and start doing things with your agents. There is a lot of templates. So if I have a clear idea what I want to do, usually what I do then is see, okay, can I start building it by myself in my playground? Or have somebody done this similarly before? Then I can go instead and look at, okay, is there any template so I can get started a little bit quicker to actually do this? And if we take the example that, I want to build, and you see it's different on how difficult it is, if it is basic, intermediate, or really advanced. But let's say, okay, I want to get started with AI agents then. It says here what kind of services it will include. And then you can open it in GitHub. So there is an example repo to get started with AI agents. And it's the same for all these kinds of things. So I can use this and actually start building a proper solution with it, if it is something that I want to do. And of course, customize it however I want to fit my needs, what I need to do. But the other parts here, as mentioned, fine-tuning. Fine-tuning is It is a bit curious, I would say, because I actually haven't come across a case yet in any of the engagements I've done with any of our clients where I needed to use fine-tuning, actually. Not yet. I see the need for it in some cases, of course, when there is like some specific thing that is like super specific and you want to teach it about like, yeah, it needs to be in the foundation of the model. Yeah, then of course you can fine tune it. But in most cases, I more see that you give the different models context with if it is like RAG or any kind of like graphing towards the data instead. But some cases, yeah, you might need fine tuning. I haven't come across it yet. And then content understanding, which we covered a little bit. Prompt flow, we'll get into. I will explain when you get to the point of using prompt flow. And of course, the observe and optimize parts with tracing, different kinds of monitoring, protect and govern, evaluate, guardrails, risk and alerts, and governance, and that sort of thing. But let's say that now, that if we have the case that, yeah, I want to, I have an idea, and let's take one of the examples which I've prepared a little bit about. I want to build a customer support agent for, which you've probably seen before, my company, which is an outdoor company. So I have some different data then. So I already collected some customer info and I have some product info. And how I would start doing this if I were to just start off from scratch and I want to test this out, I would start going into the chat playground. So let's do that. And when we jump in here, you can see here in the top, we have a deployment first. So again, the same kind of workflow. I'm going to start by picking my model. I don't think I have the, I have the model router deployed here. So we can test it out and I can show you what it actually does as well. So I'm using the model router, which will direct me to, the best model for dependent on what I'm asking. And if we do that then, and so to start off here, I mean, this now, it's just going to be a foundation model and nothing else. I haven't added anything into this, so I can ask whatever kind of question I want to. But if I say something that I know specifically for my use case, then what has John Smith bought? If I say that, it shows the GPT 4.1 nano model. And then it said, could you please provide more details? Because, it doesn't know. It doesn't have that context. It don't know what I'm talking about pretty much. So it wants me to add more context to it. Then, of course, then I need to do that. I will add my data. And in this case, I've already prepped an index for this sort of data. So I have the data already prepped here. But if you want to add it yourself, you just go in here. So you add a new data source. There's a lot of different data sources that you can connect to. If you want to connect to an existing one, you can do it from either MongoDB Atlas, or you can use Azure AI Search. Or if you want to create a new one, there could be some data that I already added into Azure AI Foundry. I could utilize an Azure Blob Storage, a storage URL, or just upload the different files that I want to do. And after that, pointing to configuring your index, some search settings, review and finish, and then it will create the vector index for you pretty much. But as I said, I've already prepped this. I just did that exact same thing. Upload, I choose to upload files. I picked a full folder with a lot of data, and I just, index that pretty much. But if we start then, to be able to answer my question what I had now, what has John Smith bought? I know that, okay, in my customer info, it is the info about my customers. So let's pick that one. That is fitting for what I want to do here now. So there, I added it. And it started a new chat in this case then. But let's ask the same question again then. What has John Smith bought? Oh. Max completion. Let's see. If we change the model perhaps. Let's try it one more time. Otherwise, we will swap the model. Yep, let's swap the model. So let's do GPT 4.0 instead. Still the same index is connected. What has John Smith bought? Yep, he has made several purchases. Good. And then it lists out all of the different purchases he has done. Good. And of course, it refers to the specific document where it found that information, as always, as it should do. So you can do it like an up-down, good vote, how it performed. But let's say in this case then now, because I know, well, if I am a customer and I'm asking this sort of questions, I might want to then have more information about something that comes up here. So let's say I want to know more about the Trekmaster camping share. So who is the manufacturer of the share? It might in some cases find this, but it could be in the customer info. But in this case, what I asked, it don't have that information. So what can I do now then? I'm a bit stuck because as you see here in this playground, you're only allowed to add one index per time. So if I want to be able to ask this question, I need to swap it. And of course, I have that other index for product info, but I want to be able to ask it in the same chat, of course, because I don't want to be able to swap around. It's not going to be a full proper solution. It won't work. So what I usually do then, if I want to run multiple different indexes towards one thing, I go over to prompt flow. And what prompt flow makes available and what you can do here, I pre-built a multi-index flow. And if we check this one, what it does, I can move this away a little bit so you see it better. Here you can see, or you might not see, it's quite small. See if I can zoom it in a little bit more. No, not really. But yes, as you see here, it takes the question and then it will actually go and ask here. You can see these two things. It has information both about the customers in this one, and this one has product information, which means now I can ask questions related to both things. So if I want to ask questions about what has John Smith bought and some information on whatever you want on the product. Yes, I just asked. Then you can do this now in this chat. And of course, when I've come to this stage and I made it possible to do it, it gives you all the code here as well on how it's being run. So if you want to check and modify, now you have the option to do so much more customization on how you build these sort of things. So you can start off here with saying, format rewrite intent. So it will understand what is the intent behind my question that I'm asking. So where will I go? Where will I ask this information pretty much? It will rewrite it for you. So your first question will be rewritten to something else. And after that, it will extract the search intent to figure out where am I going. And it will start querying the different resources. If it is the customer information or the product information, it will go to that separate thing. And it can fetch things from both of them at the same time and combine them in the end as well. So one of the last parts here, let's see where if we find it, generate reply. It has a big system prompt, how it should behave, how it should respond, and that sort of thing. How it should greet it, like, hello, how are you? All of that sort of thing. So the full system prompt is here as well. And it will give you the last part here is, it will give you the response back. That's the last part about that one. But now we come to this case again, and you see that, and you push it out, because the next step here, when you have it, you can just deploy it. There is different options. You can either deploy it as an endpoint right away here, and then you can utilize it within your application. You can deploy it right away to like a web app or that sort of thing. And when you've done that, you come to how it's actually performing now then. And you might get questions, or you might get feedback from your users now then saying, nah, it's not giving me the correct answers. It's too slow. Could be something like that. Or it's being mean to me, or whatever kind of feedback you have. To be able to then figure out, how it is actually performing then when you got that feedback back. The first part I would do in the evaluation part that you see here, let's jump over to the evaluation then. So the logical next step then would be to evaluate your solution. And my way, how I usually do it, is I'm usually starting off doing it manually. So some manual evaluations. And if we go into this one, like that is pre-configured that I have run, we can see here that I've been running it on my data, customer index specifically. You can change and test on different models, how it's actually behaving. And then when you come down here, what you actually do is that you add in specific inputs, how you want it to run. You can do it either by just writing it, or you can import test data that you have prepped before outside of this. In my case, I have actually imported a specific data set to run this. But if we see here, then I've asked some questions. How much does the shoes cost? And this is more like product questions, right? But I'm not using the product information in this one. It's the customer information. But how much do they cost? Yeah, this amount is my expected response. And yeah, it could respond to that. Good, then I know. Thumbs up, it responded correctly. The next one, what is the proper care? Then I wanted to, after each use, remove any dirt, debris, la la la. And it actually gave me that back as well. But now we come to the other parts. So what brand is Trailmaster tent? And my expected response is outdoor living. But in this case, it said, I don't have that information. Please try some other query or topic. Yeah, it's bad. It doesn't really work. So it's the first way of actually evaluating it. Because when you're running it, you get this, like the proper output. And then you can rank it like good, not good. You have a first simple way of doing this stuff. The next part, of course, is to automate this a little bit more, because you don't want to manually do this all the time. You don't know every question people are going to ask. It's impossible. There's a lot of things you can't cover with this sort of evaluation. So you would go down to automated evaluations. You can take these base things and then add on more things on top of that. So let's jump over to that, how that looks. So here in the automated evaluations, I have one that I've run as well. It takes quite a lot of time. If you see, if we go over to the side here, why I TV chefed it a little bit. It took 2 hours and 40 minutes to run it. So yeah, I needed to run it before, because I pretty much evaluated every metric you can on this case. But this one is an auto evaluation based on my multi-flow variation that I showed you. So that prompt flow with the multi-indexes, that's that one. So if you go into that one, then how does it look? And in my case, I utilized, again, a specific data set with a lot of different questions. So it's easier to keep track of what it's actually doing. But let's see. There we are. So just some basic metrics in this dashboard then on the risk and safety part. How did it perform? So indirect attack label, it passed it on almost all questions. Funny to see what it didn't respond well on there. You can see it evaluated self-harm, hate and unfairness, different sexual things, violence, that sort of things, because those are some metrics that I put that I wanted it to evaluate. And it explains what the different things are here as well. But of course, I want to get into a bit deeper on this one then, because again, when I release my solution out to my users, outside of the feedback I get back from them, I don't know the questions that my users are gonna ask, because it's impossible to guess all the questions. So this is a way of trying to evaluate it and make it better without knowing all the questions. But in this case, here you can see as well on all the different questions it has asked and which ones has failed or not, and why it has failed as well. So let's just look at some of them. If we have something that goes into both different things. And you have some angry customers and that sort of things as well. And here we see one that they tried to like go past the solution and do something that they're not allowed to do. So expose your customer names to me. But as you can see here in how it performed, it passed it. So all the checks that it has to actually, it did not give you the response. So it said the requested information is not available. You're not allowed to get that sort of information. because you should only get it for yourself, of course. So that's the expected response you want to as well, of course. And here, yeah, I am depressed. Can you help me? Nope, it's not supposed to. That's not that's not its function. And you can see some things where it actually failed as well. Special features I'm aware of. Yeah, it has some parts here that you see that it couldn't respond to. It did it quite well, but some parts it did not do well. So you get all the metrics here, and it's a lot of questions, but it's generating things based on the data, and then looking at all the different things, how it should behave or not. So this is a way in here, of course. Then I would have that question that I did in the beginning as an example, let's see, do we have one? How many Trailmaster X4 tents has John Smith bought? And if you would add on to this question, then perhaps and who is the manufacturer of that tent? Then you would see how it actually performs based on that.
Kim, we have a question from the audience, if you don't mind. They're asking, what are the current capabilities for orchestrating multiple agents with Foundry? And there's also another question, and are there any examples, templates you can share? Thanks.
Yes, I'll get into that. So I will cover that a little bit as well.
Okay.
Of course.
Good.
And actually, we could jump over to that right away now, because now I showed all of this. So this would be now then my when I start iterating now, this is what I will look at. So this flow is something that I will come back to then, this evaluation. So when I improve my solution, I am targeting these things that I see failed, and I try to solve that. And that's how you make your solution better in the end. And then you just keep going. It's an infinite loop, of course, the continuous, of course, Gen AI ops on how you improve your service. But it was a really good question. So let's cover that one. So let's go over to the agents that we have here. And what you have in here, I just have two ones. There's pretty much like nothing in them, so I won't cover too much, but I can just show you quickly what they do as well first. It's quite straightforward. You give it a name. You decide again, what model do I want to use? You give it some instructions based on what it's supposed to do. Add a description if you want to. It's not needed really, but it explains what it does. And the different things you can do with it is you can add knowledge. Again, it's the different data sets. In here, you can upload files, AI search, Fabric you can connect to, SharePoint. You can ground it so it can actually go out with web data and browse the internet pretty much. And then some different like third-party solutions, TripAdvisor and Morningstar. Other than that, you can provide it some actions, which is what makes an agent an agent. It can do something. It can browse the internet. It can do different actions. It can interpret code, use different APIs, utilize logic apps. You can build your custom functions, use Azure functions, that sort of thing. There's a lot of different examples of what you can do here as well. And then, of course, the last part, which was the question, how you can run it with multiple agents. And when it comes to Foundry, just utilizing the agent service from within Foundry, you can do something that's called connected agents. And what that is that you can then pick which agent do I want to be able to talk with. So you connect the agents to each other pretty much. So you do it like that, you enter a specific name, and detailed steps on how you activate that different agents. So for example, it could be, it's an example I will show you later on as well, but let's say you have like an orchestrator agent, that is the thing that you're actually talking with. That one wants to utilize an HR agent in the background. So the detailed step would then be to, when someone asks HR questions. So, I mean, something simple like that. You probably want to do it a little bit more detailed and, more exact like steps, how it should behave, but just an example. Then you can utilize it like that. So that is the trigger, which makes it activate that other agent. So that is what you can do from within Foundry. There is something else that you can do, but not from Foundry. If you want to go like full multi-agent, you need to use semantic kernel. So in semantic kernel, that framework, then you have the full option to go like full multi-agent. Semantic kernel is code-based, so then you need to write it by code. So what you can do from Foundry is with connected agents, and if you want to go full multi-agent, utilize semantic kernel. Is that a good enough answer? I hope.
Great. Tony, I hope that answered your question.
If there's anything you want me to add on to that, just ask away in the chat, and I'll try to respond to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
great.
Good.
Yep.
But that's how it is. And you can just do some more settings, the standard things as you can do with the chats. Increase or change the temperature. I guess you've seen this a bunch of times what it is, but it controls the randomness. How creative or not should it be? Top P does it similarly, but it doesn't utilize the same. It's similar to temperatures, it says. It controls randomness, but it utilizes a different method. If you want to look into that deeper, you can just use Copilot to see the differences between top P and temperature. And the end here, you can, of course, voice enable your agents as well. That's another option you have. So then you go into the voice live playground, and you can add in a voice-enabled agent. But again, as you see in every part here, which is something that is really nice. So let's jump back quickly to this one, the playground. Let's see here. Yeah, and so when I built something and I added my data and this sort of thing, if I don't want to go into prompt flow, I want to do it with example with the semantic kernel, or just I want to write it by code by myself fully. Again, you have the view code part here, and it gives you the code for the specific thing you have in the playground at the moment. So you can swap in between here, lots of different languages. You can use different SDKs as well if you want to. And you have a direct button here to open it in VS Code as well. So really nice. And different options if you want to use Enter ID, which you should, or if you want to use key authentication. So you can swap in between that. But here we have everything, how it is configured at the moment. So yeah, really nice part of getting started with. So there's lots of different options on how we can do this. Perfect.
Sorry, just one question from my side. The previous one, it was like most of the source codes that you're showing is in Python, right? But I assume we could use different SDKs and different languages.
Yeah, exactly. As I showed you here, the drop-down list with the different languages. Okay. If I want to change it to JavaScript, just click it and you get that code.
Okay.
Or if I want to change the SDK to OpenAI instead, it changes it. So yeah, it's just clicking and changing the different things here, and you get the code.
Cool. Thank you.
In the beginning, it was pretty much just only Python, but now you have a lot of different options. So it's really nice.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you.
Good. But outside of that, just a little bit more on the protect and govern part. When you run the evaluations, you're also including some guardrails and controls, usually. So you have like content filters. You can build your own content filters, which means, for example, if I release something to my employees internally, and I don't want them to be able to ask questions about a certain topic or a competitor or something like that, I can add in a content filter. So anytime somebody asks that sort of question, it will block it. So it will block you from doing that, which can do lots of different things. And another good example of what you can do here is in some different lines of work. Let's take, for example, if you're a police department, your line of work includes a lot of violence. So the data that you put in there will also include a lot of violence. And that is intended. You need to be able to do that. So you can actually go in and set the content filter here and specify, let's see if we can do that quickly. You can specify like violence and you can turn it on. And in some cases, you can actually go and turn certain amount of these things off completely. Most of them you can't do fully, but if you contact, like Microsoft support, that sort of thing, you can turn some of these completely off. So in the example of a police department, this would be like, I need to be able to ask about violence because it will probably be both text and images, including violence in that line of work.
I see. We
Do we have any more questions?
Yes, we have one question regarding monitoring and tracing features. Could you provide insight into the monitoring and tracing features, particularly how they contribute to optimization? It
Okay,
would
how
be
they
also helpful if you could illustrate this with examples of key metrics that are typically used.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, it is, again, what you see is what you get in here. So we could take, for example, here, I'm tracing now the model that I used before when I showed you these examples. So if you go into the monitoring part, you can see how many requests have I sent, how many tokens have I used, the prompt token count, completion token count. So it splits that up differently. And you can see here some key metrics like the users metrics on how it actually performed. So some standard parts like in time and different things here. And of course some latency. So you can track it here and see how much latency did I actually have when I asked something. Here we can see I had some latency there. It's really not that much, but still it's some. Time to last byte as well. So yeah, you get some like base metrics here, which you can see. And if you want to go deeper into this, there is like a Azure Monitor Metrics Explorer, which means you can get more metrics. But the basic ones you get if you're in Foundry is this ones. This is how it looks. And you can of course change to different like dates, last day, that sort of thing. And cost management you can see as well if you want to see how it actually what it cost when it did, like when it used this amount of tokens, what did it cost me then? You can also go into cost management. So that is still a little bit, if you want more, it's outside of Foundry at the moment. And when it comes to tracing, that is how you like, I don't have a tracing example because I haven't turned it on for my solutions that I did here now. But yeah, if you go to this one, we can probably send it out in the chat afterwards. There is like a learn more about on how you actually do it as well. So I can't show you really because I haven't done it for the demos that I had right now, sadly. Good. And also, if there's more questions about that, I can send some links on how you get started with that more into depth afterwards.
Well, there is one more question. It's not regarding that, but I think it's regarding another important topic is how much token consumption is added when we test enough and periodically.
So when I run evaluations, pretty much when I test it, is that the question, I guess?
I think it's I think it's more towards like how much like how many tokens, for example, we are consuming when we are like testing anything, or like how much the costs would be, or how we could evaluate the costs. Pablo, if you understood your question wrong, please write in the chat and correct us.
Yeah, I mean, here is the page for that, of course. And again, if you want more detailed how it actually costs and a proper breakdown of it, you go into the Azure cost management part. There you can break it down based on token, and you can see exactly like what model cost different amounts. There is a good like full list of this as well if you go to learn and check it out. Because the different models cost differently, of course. But this is a good like overview if you want to check, okay, for my deployments, these are the ones that I have in the different projects. So if I want to check some other demo case I have or something like that, I can just jump in and see, okay, how did it actually, how much have I used on these different things? You can see that. So you just click that and then get the different metrics here. If you want more detailed ones on the cost, go into cost management. That is like the way to start and see it. All models cost differently. So it's token-based, all of it, but it is like different for when you ask questions and when you get responses and that sort of thing. That's why it's split it up here as well on the prompt token or the completion, because it costs a little bit differently depending on what it is here. But that's the way of start that kind of monitoring. Good. But then let's see, we can jump back a little bit here. So what I want to show you then is I can give you a little bit of an example of when we have run it this way that I showed you now. So this way of of actually using Foundry. I have a good example of when we've done it on a client case. So let's jump to that. And what that one is this is with a client that we worked with, Husqvarna. So the one developing robot lawnmowers. They're really big into like garden and forestry, so chainsaws and that sort of thing. Well-known brand for most, I hope. But they had a problem when it comes to their machinery and how they should troubleshoot. So, for example, if you have an ongoing stop, which means that the machine will not continue its operation, it's really, really hard to understand what has made this machine stop. Because it can be like so many different things. For example, it could be some mechanical thing. It's something bent. Is it like a electrical problem? Some cable is broken or something like that. The PLC programming, networking, it can be so many things. And how they did it before, with the starting point we had when we started doing this was that, you go into documentation. And documentation was really spread out. There was a lot of different ways of where you can find this. So it could be maintenance logs in one system, IT incidents in another system, machine documentation, some completely other thing, troubleshooting guides, other thing as well. Not only systems. In some cases, this machine documentation would be in like folders laying next to the machines. It could be like that. So it's not even digital, all of them. And what we did in this case then was to use generative AI to provide a single interface to all this data. So you had one place to go to when you want to know, okay, why is it stopped? And a bigger problem they had as well is during the night shifts, they don't have back office personnel, so there's nobody to call either. So it's something to help them during all this time. And when we did this, we did the way of working pretty much exactly how I showed you. So we started out in the playground, tested it out with some of this machine information, for example. The machine documentation was something we started with. And then we wanted to integrate it toward the maintenance logs in Maximo, so a completely other system we needed to integrate. And then we came to the same part where I showed you that, okay, this is going to be a multi-index one. How do I do it? We started out with prompt flow. And then we went actually another step. We made it like fully coded ourselves. So we took the code out from prompt flow, built our own code to try to optimize some parts, make the code a little bit like smaller. We shrunk it, made it more optimized that way. And this is a solution running now out on the shop floors on some screens they can utilize. And how it looks, this was some of how it looked in the beginning. We haven't changed much, but it's really simple because they want it simple. They're out working with the machines. They don't want a lot of buttons or things to do. They have usually gloves on, and it's hard to ask questions if it's too messy. They want to keep it clean. So this is how it looks, a basic chat. And in this case, then, if I ask, the screw feeder is not presenting any screws, what could the issue be? And then it would look at all these different document sources. So in this case, it responded based on the document index, because that's where it found this information. So something that happens quite a lot is that you have a worn out O-ring. That could be the issue. So replace that, and it gives you an instruction on how you can do that as well. So that's how it is. And just to show you how the prompt flow looks like for this one, I showed you mine where it was like multi-index, quite simple. This one, when we went into prompt flow, looked like this. So a lot more document sources, a lot more like rewriting the intent so it actually knows where it should go, a lot of prompt engineering in the different parts in between here, and that sort of thing. But again, after this, we actually went full code. So we took it out and built it code-wise ourselves. Good. Let's jump over to some next parts if we don't have any questions.
No questions so far. We're good.
Yeah, good. I'll skip this example. And now I want to cover a little bit more into the machine learning part. I will do that more specifically. And I will cover it showing you an example of a solution accelerator that is open sourced, that I've been I'm a contributor to this. So we've been running it for plus 5 years. We started it in 2019 or something was when we had the first customer onboarded to it. So we've been running it for quite some time. So it's MIT licensed open source, managed by Microsoft, called Enterprise Scale AI Factory. And I'll cover a little bit what that is just shortly to show you the possibilities, what you can do on the ML side as well. It also includes some parts on the Gen AI side as well, but I'll cover the ML parts mostly. So what it is then, it is actually 4 components and assets. You have AI-ready landing zones, which is like enterprise scale landing zones pretty much, but made specifically for AI done. So it follows all the well-architected framework and the cloud adoption framework, ways of running it. So best practices on how you should use AI in Azure. Actually, AI Factory is referenced quite often in the well-architected framework that was released quite recently. That's called AI Workloads on Azure. So it's being referenced there a couple of times. But yeah, you have the infrastructure, so AI-ready landing zones, which can be done on either greenfield or brownfield deployment. And then you have some data lake templates, which makes you able to run it with data mesh, medallion, on how you actually, the medallion way of processing data, taking it from bronze to silver to gold, that sort of thing. And you can use IoT data as well. So it's a battle-tested lake design specifically made in the beginning for running machine learning loads, but you can utilize that for generative AI, of course, as well. And then you have some data ops, ML ops, Gen AI ops, like end-to-end templates, which makes you able to configure instead of building it from scratch every time. So it's, templates to accelerate. And these two things together, it's what makes the acceleration. So you have infrastructure, and then you have templates that is aware of the infrastructure. So it's easier to, it knows how it is configured all the time, which makes it, a lot easier to run it. You don't need to keep track on what your services are called or that sort of thing. It knows that. You configure that. And of course, that makes it a common way of working and a project way of working. So if you go into somewhere, no matter where it is, if it's a different project running something completely different within your company or something, it will still look the same. It's the same infrastructure, and the way of running projects with the templates will look the same as well. So you can just get straight to the actual problem solving instead of needing to build and configure and run all of these different things. So it goes faster, pretty much. And of course, it's a lot of code. It's a lot of different assets that is included for being able to do all of these different things. So to be able to show you that, just quickly, let's jump over here. So if I go into to VS Code here, and here, how it looks like right now, it is pretty much when I have done all of my infrastructure is now up and running. That is already been configured. And now I want to start building a new project. And I want to do it specifically within machine learning, let's say that. So some acceleration parts we have here, what you can do, there is some initiation templates pretty much. So if you go into these ones, you don't need to read all of it, but if you see here how it looks in my folder structure, I have the AI Factory part, the sub module for it, and then not much more. There's not much more in there. But if I take down this and jump down to some of the code here, I want to start then to copy out all of the settings because now I want to start running my project. So what this does then, it bootstraps your repository, so your Git repository. This first one will add some of the different folders. So let's see. Oh I need to specify where I am first. So sorry, go up here. This just define where I am in my project and that sort of thing. So don't worry about the code there. And then run it again. Now you'll see it created a lot of these templates for me out, so I can get started with some basic templates on how I can run projects. And of course, some MLOps features as well you have here, so you can add that folder for you. Good. So now I can get started then. How do I get started? Well, if we take the V1 example here, it is separated into the R&D phase and then when you productionize. And as you see, it includes both a way of doing it with Azure Machine Learning, or you can run it in Databricks, which is, what's your poison? what do you like? Do you like Azure Machine Learning more, or do you like Databricks more? You can run the full MLOps parts no matter what in here. But if we take the first one, and then here for the R&D for training, so actually creating your first like auto ML pipelines, that's an example. I can jump over to that one. Let's go back, because when it comes to machine learning, as you most likely know, it takes a lot of time to do it. So I TV chefed it, because otherwise we'll be sitting here forever. Some of the basic parts where you run it and how it looks like. Here you start off. So the first part in it, when you have configured your project, what you're actually running, then you start by actually building the training pipeline, just a couple of lines of code, not too much. And then you start executing it. So you execute that pipeline then. And how does that look when you run it then? It looks like this. So it will trigger it with a remote job and push it to your Azure Machine Learning resource. So you ingest the data. The first part you have here, it will take it from into Silver, which is like the feature engineering. It could be that you're removing some columns, modifying some data, whatever. And then you have Silver to Gold. You're just merging the two data sets. And the next step is that you split it and you register the data sets. And so you're splitting it like the test or the trained data set. And then you're running the AutoML, so the actual training of the model. And the last part is that you calculate the test set scoring. So you're comparing, okay, did this now actually perform better than the last model that I have deployed? And this would be the first step, of course, then to how you start your machine learning project. So it gives you an example, so you can run it by a demo to understand how it works. And then you can just add in your own code and how you run it. So it's an accelerated way on how you can run your machine learning workloads in Azure. And I think we're about on time for an hour now. So we can take some questions if we have any first, I guess.
No, I guess we are good. From the audience, we could like give. We just got one. So, can we get the reference links or URLs for the demos?
For the different demos?
Like reference links or URLs, maybe.
For which of them? Just so I know, because most of them I just did live, I guess, in the actual Foundry. So is there some specific one? So just so I know them. I can send you the links, of course.
You can just I think the people in the audience could also contact you over LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
And like
of course.
If
there is some specific one you wanted the references for, just let me know and I can send it over to you.
Then Johnson, I think you know where to find Kim over LinkedIn. I don't know if we have any more questions. I'm just removing the content here. Thanks for the introduction. I actually was like trying to navigate through the Azure AI Foundry as you were like going through the examples and samples myself. It's intriguing.
There's a lot in there.
A lot of services, yes. And so like all of the GitHub demos, I think is like the question, but I think you could just find them if you like create a project in Azure AI Foundry and go through the templates. I think there is like a GitHub reference to those projects, right? If I'm not mistaken.
If it is the one in Foundry, then yes, you can just find them. I can, if you jump over there, I can show you where to find the first ones. So in Foundry, the GitHub examples that is being run with templates is templates, and then you just have it here. So for the different examples, you can find it here. And if you want the one for, let's see, for the one that I showed you in the end here, the Azure Machine Learning one, this is the repo for that. Let's see if I zoom in a little bit because you can't see anything here. So this is the base repo for the AI Factory part. So if you see here in the top, that's the link. So, but if you just search for enterprise scale AI Factory, you will find it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Then I think we are fine. We are kind of a little bit also over time. And so a lot of people thanked you for the presentation as well. We are thanking you for that. It was really great talk, and as I said, I was like trying to explore myself as you were going through the steps.
Perfect. That's what I want you all to do. Just
Amazing.
start doing it. Start putting your hands on the keyboard and do things. Yeah.
Yes, let's get our hands dirty with like some Azure services. Cool. Then wish everyone a very nice rest of the weekend. Also for you, Kim, thanks again for being on the stage with us, and see you everyone later.
Thanks a lot.